Hey there, it's Shauna with Neo-Feminine Astrology. I hope you're doing great. This is your weekly astrology forecast for the week of January 16th. And this is your week of reinvention. So I'm really excited to share with you a few tips on how to use the energy for this week to have an amazing week. So this week we are in the waning phase of the lunar cycle. So this always means that the energy is winding down and the energy is starting to pull inward, much in the way that once a wave has crashed on the shore, it starts to pull in before it moves back out again. So that being said, the energy is more internal this week. But there's a little bit of a shift that's going to happen on Thursday, and that's for a few different reasons. So the sun is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius on Thursday, on the 19th. And so whereas Capricorn is all about work and responsibility and accomplishment, Capricorn is about building something. It's about big success over the long term. Aquarius, on the other hand, is about revolution. It's about change. It's about taking a structure that is outdated and totally transforming it. Aquarian people, Aquarian energy is very concerned with liberation, revolution, the ideal, and not just like small, tiny changes in the way that Capricorn enjoys, but Aquarius is like, let's fucking throw out the whole system and start new. So there's like this vibe of reinvention, and we get to, over the course of the whole next month, learn about these themes. We get to have a spotlight. The sun is on Aquarius, so the sun is like a spotlight on these issues of personal revolution and in what ways you can reinvent yourself as well. So the other interesting thing that's happening on Thursday is that Mars is squaring Saturn. And this is also a very dynamic kind of energy. So Mars is about what you want. It's about ambition and asserting yourself. And then Saturn is about building things. It's about like the reality of life. Saturn is like adulting. Saturn is like, okay, well, how are you going to make this thing? And it's really cool because the energy of this week so perfectly moves in alignment to follow up with last week. In last week's forecast, we talked about getting in touch with your why, getting in touch with why it is that you're doing the things that you're doing. And this week, it's about what is it that you want, Mars, and how are you going to get it, Saturn. Mars is about wanting, and Saturn is about the how. Saturn is about like, okay, what structures are you going to put into place to get to where you want to be? And so that may come through an Aquarian kind of way, like a flash of insight. Mars is in Pisces right now, and so that's not the most like forward-moving kind of energy, but it's still Mars. And it's Mars squaring Saturn. And whenever there's a square, it presents to you an issue that you cannot ignore. Or, you know, you can ignore if you want to, but when there's a square between planets like this, it presents opportunities to you. And it says, hey, like, here's a thing in your life that you need to handle. What are you going to do with it? So I have a few tips for you for this week. The biggest thing, number one, is to write down what it is that you want and what structures you can put into place to move yourself towards that. So this is Mars, what do you want? And then Saturn, how are you going to do that? And it doesn't have to be short term, like all this week. Think, like over the next few months or maybe even over the next year. But it's nice to solidify that, to write that down. And then number two, notice how that comes up in your life this week. Notice if there are challenges where you can't get what you want because you don't have the things in place. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or you need to fix anything, but you just go back to like, okay, what is it that you need to do going forward? Or maybe there's a need to get more clear on exactly what it is that you want. So that's number one, is the wanting and the how it is that you're going to get to that. Number two is massive self-care, especially on Thursday. in addition to these Sun in Aquarius and then Saturn and Mars coming together on Thursday, we also have the last quarter square of the moon in Scorpio on Thursday. So this is like a lot of energy, and Scorpio is it's it's quite intense sometimes. So you may just be feeling a certain level of intensity on Thursday. I don't know, it may feel great, but it may feel tender at the same time. So make sure that you do something really nice for yourself on Thursday, whatever it is, to nurture yourself and to give yourself some extra time to reflect and just to be with yourself. So those are my tips for this week. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend and let me know how you're doing. I always love hearing from you guys and connecting with you, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, all the things. I just love that. So I'm wishing you an amazing week, and I will talk to you soon. Namaste. Mwah.